What is good? Osiris here, stuck in the middle. I woke up today to Reuters article about Russia, Ukraine, and Russia actually put their nuclear forces on alert. I also saw trending DEFCON, high alert, nukes, Big Sean, and Nintendo Switch. Ugh. Don't search that. But when we look at what's happening here seriously, I want to bring it back to how that pertains to us in the United States. Here's the article, sharing it right now. Russia, Ukraine agree on talks. The part that I want to talk about more is the nuclear forces on alert. U.S. says nuclear alert, totally unacceptable. Yeah, I think that's a no-brainer. Putin blames aggressive NATO members' statements. 368,000 refugees have fled Ukraine. Don't blame them. I would have fled as well. This is craziness. I'm not dying over the U.S. puppet Zelensky or Putin to rule my country. I'm not messing with none of y'all. I'll have to flee. If you have to fight, you have to fight. And women and children first. But I heard Ukraine has locked it down where men, something like 18 through 60, can't flee. So you might have to fight. Tough situation there. Here's my point. There's reports that Russia's been repelled. Some of their forces have been pushed back. I don't think Russia's sent their force. I think Russia could swamp out and eliminate Ukraine if they wanted to. I don't want that to happen, but I don't want to look at those reports and think Russia is all pushed back. My point is, at some point, there's going to be some type of interaction or beef with Russia and NATO. It's almost unavoidable. It's just a matter of, is that going to escalate to something where they say, hey, we have to do Article 5, or this is officially a NATO war, and the U.S. has to be involved. We have troops all along and in Poland over there. My takeaway is, I'm going to have two takeaways. I'm going to talk about China, Iran, and then my American takeaway. I would not be surprised. I'm not any type of geopolitical expert by any means. So it's just a dude literally in his basement talking to you. But I would not be surprised. Russia, China, and Iran, they all roll together. They're roll dogs. They're the anti-NATO. I would not be surprised if China and Iran, you saw the reports of Biden. I don't believe this because it would be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Biden went to China, giving them information saying, we need your help, China, to stop Russia. And China just went to Russia and gave them all the information that the US did. I can't believe that. They're not stupid. But what it shows is potentially there's a coordination between China and Russia. And of course, China would bring Iran in on this, and potentially North Korea too. North Korea just did another ballistics test. North Korea is so crazy. But this has the potential to escalate into more. That's the world war if China makes a move that it's unavoidable. Now, I have said China has corrupted the US from within with philosophies like critical theory. So it's possible that China moves in Taiwan and America doesn't do much at all because we're corrupted. Who knows? We'll see. Let me take it to the States and end with this. I have said for quite a while, what Democrats are doing is not popular here in the US. There's going to be, assume that our elections have integrity in 2022, 2024, especially 2022, this year, midterms. It looks like it's going to be a red wave. And the red wave will be, even though the amount of true populist right figures will be small, I still think the red wave is going to be a serious one. I still think we're going to see a red wave, and the populist right, even though they won't be the majority of the red wave, they have the momentum, they have the power. They could even nominate potentially Trump as Speaker of the House. That would be something that would probably be contested legally, but when the House votes for who is Speaker, there's nothing in that verbiage that says it has to be a member of Congress. Nothing at all. We've had votes. Trump's got votes before, I believe, for Speaker of the House. Now, if he actually won, that would be a heavy, contentious issue. Here's my point with Ukraine, tying it back all in. I don't think the cabal can stomach even a 2022 midterm red wave. They definitely can't stomach Trump in 2024. Could you imagine Trump winning again in 2024? And then the power that they would have in the House to do all kinds of investigations. That's not my top priority. People know my top priority is rights in the digital world. But they could do all kinds of hearings and all kinds of stuff. They're already talking about it. Ted Cruz, he's not a populist right, but he's talking about it. So they got momentum from the populist right to these establishment people like Cruz, even Lindsey Graham. He's a smart guy. He'll weasel his way into whatever group he needs to. He's a professional politician. My point is, I would not assume that we're going to have a traditional midterm election. I would not assume that we're going to have a 2024. They'll do whatever they want. It doesn't matter if it's civil war. These people are deranged. They're psychopaths. These people in power, in the cabal, in the GOP Dems. I don't think they couldn't care less if nukes flew. They couldn't care less if there was civil war. Obviously, we don't want those things, but I don't think they care. I don't think they care at all if there was a war, wartime powers. Biden's going to do the State of the Union address and it's going to be fenced off. I don't think they care whatever they need to do. Biden hasn't lifted his emergency powers for the pandemic. There could be a threat, nuclear threat, whatever the threat is. Oh, I got to do emergency powers again. Another pandemic. Who knows? And if that happens, I don't foresee a traditional midterm in 2022, 2024. Who knows if it's under martial law or postponed? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there that I think that's more of the concern than anything for those in charge, is to not let this populist right get power. Because you don't know if they get in power. I know Democrats are playing the long game, but you don't know what happens. If they get in power, there could be more momentum into 22, 2024, and maybe the long game doesn't work for Democrats. There's no guarantee that it will. So I'm keeping an eye on all this stuff, and I'm keeping an eye on how our politicians are acting, and the next checkpoint, which, pray to God, I hope so, that we get to is the midterms. If we get to that safely, normally, no last second laws or anything like that, saying you can print your own ballots or whatever the case is, or mail-in ballots everywhere. If we have it normal, that's going to be a sign. I'm not saying I think it's going to be, different, but that's my next checkpoint. And that's what I'm looking at with Ukraine and all this, and China. And I'm talking about Iran. I don't know why nobody's really been talking about Iran, but I think they'll get involved somehow, some way. Let me know what you think. Take care.